plead innocent of all charges.
A little more conversation with TalkingElvis.co.uk.
Hello, Elvis fans out there in radio and TV land. This is now podcast land. And this is Talking Elvis, the podcast, episode 19. I'm Vince Wright.
And I'm Ian Gray.
And we're here again.
No, 19.
No, 19. No, the average age. 19? Crikey.
I know. We're soon leaving our teens, folks.
Oh, bless them.
We'll still be growing up and flying then.
They grow up so quick, then they leave the nest.
Well,
yes.
There you go.
Well, if you're new to podcasts, I just thought maybe you've just picked up on this one for the first time. Do you want to tell the ladies and gents what we're all about?
What we're all about is two guys sitting down and talking about all things Elvis. Now, it's not just about Elvis itself. It could be about Elvis's co-stars in his movies. It could be the animals that appeared in his movies. And as bizarre as that sounds, it's a conversation that we've actually had in a bar or in a pub. And what we're basically doing was we're committing all these conversations to a recording so that you can hear it. So if you were to meet up with us in a pub when we're allowed to go back in them again, you'd probably hear the same sort of conversation as you do on this very podcast. So that is what we're all about. Regular people talking about regular things, talking about irregular Elvis things.
It's right. It is so true. So we're not, strictly going to review every album, every track. There's loads of podcasts out here, and we're all doing something different. So this is something for everyone. Something. Yeah,
we're just going to chat about Elvis and chat about Elvis, the Elvis world, really, and whatever takes our fancy. And some of it will be relevant, some of it won't be, and that's the beauty of it. It's, as you just said, Vince. It's just so many Elvis podcasts out there, and they all seem to be different. And we're just doing our own little different thing.
We're all one big family.
We are indeed.
Yeah. It is actually really nice that the podcast world seems to be a lot less backstabbing than the fan club world or the magazine world that are all we're better than you are, and you can't play in our gang. So nice one out there in podcast land.
Yeah, let's have more of them. We're all good.
Yes, and if you don't listen to podcasts normally, you should.
I'm Justin Gosman.
And I'm Gurdeep Ladar from the TCB Cast.
And you're listening to the Talking Elvis podcast. It's a hot time in Florida.
Rainy night in Georgia.
Right. We are on episode 19, and what's the news this very week? You got anything?
Yeah, the only news I've got is the Elvis That's the Way It Is movie 50 years anniversary. We were going to go and all watch it in the cinema is it April?
Yeah.
Of this year, but because of the pandemic, we all decided that it was a good idea that we didn't go, and so everything was cancelled. They've rearranged that for the 13th of August of this year. So we are going to have Elvis That's the Way It Is 50 years later on the 13th of August in the UK. That is, provided conditions are okay to do.
I'm going to say, do you think cinemas will be open by then?
Well, they may have. They may be open. It's 2 and a bit months away yet, so there's every chance. And let's face it, just say there's a cinema with a capacity of 100, maybe they're only going to put 35 or 40 people in it.
Yeah.
And once tickets are gone, they're gone. And it might be something like that. So we'll wait and see. August the 13th is the current one. If you want to find out if your local cinemas are showing, I've got a massive, great big list here all over the UK. But you can go to www.elvisthat'sthewayItis.com and follow all the links on there. So provided we could all do so safely, then maybe that's what we'll be doing on August the 13th.
Excellent news.
Hope so.
Get out there. Let's hope for the new normal.
Yeah.
Right, that's a good bit of news. For me personally, I've sent off for my Blu-ray King Creole at an amazingly bargain price. So if this company comes true, then I think we'll give them a good old plug.
Indeed, yeah.
If that works as well as it sounds like it will. Yeah, so that was my one bit of news.
I'm waiting for you to get yours first before.
Yeah, I'm going to say wait till they've cloned my credit card and taken the house off me.
So we'll wait and see on that one. Good luck with it. I hope it works because that's a very good deal anyway. So
I was watching the news this very morning on the BBC,
Mm.
and I don't know if you've seen anything today, and they were on about places coming out of lockdown and everything, and Vegas is opening up again.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. So what did we have to see on the news? We have to have the old "I got married in the chapel, oh love," and we have to see the Elvis impersonator.
Oh, really? Is that what they showed?
That's what they are. So
Well done.
you've got an Elvis impersonator with, I mean, he was in a full jumpsuit, but with a complete charro beard. It was really freaky. Right. But he was going on about, I can't have the physical contact. And, it just made me think, going to chuck a scarf out at somebody, which all these ETAs love to do, isn't it? But you have to dip it in Dettol first. That'd be great.
You know what? Contrary to popular belief, the streets of Las Vegas are not swimming with Elvis impersonators. So why they had to go with that sort of image? It's a very lazy thing to do, isn't it?
It is. It's that. Well, I think that's one thing we've learned about through the pandemic here is the lazy journalism.
Well, yes, indeed, and there's another example of it.
And there's another example. So that was in the news there that he was doing that.
Jolly good.
I did see some nice clips of Graceland opening now.
Yes.
And I like their social distancing stickers on the floor that says, it's got pictures of blue suede shoes. Please step on my blue suede shoes or something. So those were the stickers on the floor to show the spacing. So I like that as a bit of a joke. I'm happy with that. That's a bit of a laugh. The other thing in the news that literally 2 minutes ago has just dropped through my door. I've just had the latest fan club magazine.
Yes, similar here. Yep.
Yeah. And what did you think?
A quick look through it seems to be quite good, quite comprehensive. We've got sort of recording notes, haven't we? The Forgotten Movie.
I think it looks. I flicked it through, and I thought, but I will never read that. Looks like nothing.
No, probably not. I'm not that much fussed about the ETA.
4 pages on the ETA thing with 5 million ETAs doesn't go me. And this is it. We've reviewed magazines before, and I think there is only so many stories to tell. That's a shame that looks quite dull. I get excited when they come through the door, but there's nothing even there that I want to rush out and buy. That even bit of a shame, but that's the way. That's the way it is. That's how it goes. That's all my news and views.
Yep, that'll do it for me too.
Should we get on with the show?
Indeed, let's do it.
Okay, it's over to you, Grace.
Talking Elvis, a new podcast.
So, what have we got this week? It's another one of our top 5 thingies, is it?
Yes. Now, if we think about top 5s, what have we done so far? Top 5 leading ladies.
Yes. Top 5 leading men.
Yeah.
Top 5 children in the movies.
And the animals.
And the animals, yes.
Right.
Yes. And don't forget, only last week we did top 5 60s movies.
Yes, and we were clever on the 60s movies because we didn't want everybody to just go King Creole.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we were good. So to round that up, to do all our great things from the movies, unless we do favourite motorbike in a movie or something like that, we came up this week with the top 5 songs.
Yes.
From the movies.
Yes.
Is that right?
Top 5 movie songs, but only from the scripted movies.
Right, that's good.
Yes.
Now, when I started looking at this,
right.
I got confused with my own title, right? Because are we looking for the top 5 songs in movies, or are we looking for the top 5 movie songs? Ha ha! You say, have you gone for, I think this is the best films.
Oh, I see where you're coming from.
I think this is a great song that happens to be in a movie.
I see what you mean now. Well, I personally have gone for what I think is my favourites.
Good call.
From the movies. But I've also sort of had to be a bit mixed up and say this is a great movie song as well. So I've had a bit of a thing for both. I went for favourites in the first place.
It does. It's too big, isn't it? Because this is what threw me.
Mm.
And I was trying to work it out, and I got this, and I did my top five, and then I did another top five, and I went, hang on a minute, none of these are the same, because I ended up with the top five movie songs because they're great in a movie, and then I've got these. Actually, if these songs were all stuck on an album together, they're pretty damn good songs. So I
Indeed.
ended up with two lists. So I have gone to play devil's advocate. I'm going to probably be a little bit off the beaten track here, which should add to the debate.
Well, it was one of those things, wasn't it, where you had to pick five. Now, I went through each movie, and I started with 41. I wrote down 41 songs. I thought, crikey, this is going to be a bit of a game. And then I narrowed it down to 23, and then 12, and then 9. and like literally before we started this broadcast, I thought, oh, sod it, put 5 numbers down.
Yeah.
But I've also
Slacker.
I did go for my favourites. Yes, of course I did. But I also think then I chose my top 5 because they had a bit of extra gravitas to them, if you like, as a great song as well. Well, 2 or 3 of them certainly, not all of the top 5. I did stick with a couple of. I'll sod it. They're my favourites.
Yeah, which is what you should do, isn't it? It's got to be a good feeling.
Of course,
because I think this title here is how you did it. I went really Anaraki, and I said, right, what is my favourite song from each film?
Right.
And then I chose one because I was overwhelmed. So then when you choose, How to Love Me Tender, this is my favourite.
Yeah.
And then it's apples and oranges, is it? Because you can't compare Let Me and Viva Las Vegas. So I did all that, and I thought, sorry, got to go back to your gut. Right.
Yeah. You couldn't be scientific with this, could you?
Yeah, no, not at all. It absolutely blew me. But there is a pattern to my top 5.
Oh,
You've
gone cryptic again, haven't you?
Yeah, but I didn't know till I did the research on the 5 I'd actually chose. I went, oh, there's a pattern. So shall we kick it off?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, why not?
Right.
Let's just do it and don't forget, folks, if you want to join in at home, then please feel free, because your top 5 is going to be a heck of a lot different to our top 5s. Don't believe it.
It'll be wrong, but it'll be right. Okay, number 5. Roll on the drums, please. What are you going to go for?
I have gone for a nice little movie ditty song. Not a great song by any means. Not going to win any awards or anything, but I like it. It's a lot of fun. It's Song of the Shrimp.
Oh, now I had you down as number 1 with that.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. No, because it is exactly that, isn't it? It's throwaway, but great.
I think I went for that one because I wanted to put a typical Daft movie song in there.
Yeah.
And it's probably one that I play most of the Daft movie songs in the radio show. And it's one of those ones as well that if you at the beginning of an Elvis disco or an Elvis event, you put that on and you could put the volume down slightly and people will be singing along to it.
Do you know who wrote it?
Sid Tepper, Roy C. Bennett.
Right, so it's good from a good pedigree.
Absolutely, a good pedigree, yes.
It's a bit dark, though, isn't it, really, when you sit and listen to it?
When you analyse it,
yeah.
Go, this guy's going on a suicide mission.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of Finding Nemo, isn't it? That's a good call, because it is so movies, isn't it?
It really is movies. It's got nothing to do with real life whatsoever, and yeah, it's not about love, is it? It's not about hope. Like I say, this is a typical throwaway movie song, and it puts a bit of a smile on your face. And you know what? It's not a bad song. Musically speaking, it's quite good, and Elvis looks good performing it. When he's out there on the ship in Hawaii.
I was going to say that the scene of it is the winner, isn't it? Because he's not absolutely cringing, is he?
No, not at all. It's he's surrounded by the lads on the boat, and they've had a couple of beers and a bit of fishing, and I thought, I know, let's sing a silly song. So let's do that, and that was typical of an Elvis movie, I guess. But I like that. All good fun.
And then nobody throws up over the side, do they?
That's because you and me weren't in on the filming of it.
They're on that boat, and it's tipped over to the one side, and he picks up his guitar and goes, "Yeah, I'm all right here, mate." Yeah,
We've got the sea legs, you see.
yeah. Oh, and then the other lads come in with a bucket now and pretend it's a drum, don't they?
It looks like the same guy at Blue Hawaii, doesn't it? Ito Eats. It looks like him, doesn't it?
Oh, God. Now, there's a song. Don't spoil anything, but we might hear that later. Oh, dear me. Right. So that is your... anything else about it?
No, just recorded March '62 for Girls, 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 and no, a very good from a very good writing stable. So yeah. And actually, looking down on my list, all the composers of my top 5 are actually very sort of highly thought of composers. So that's probably my subconsciously directed me towards those in the first place.
But this is the thing, isn't it? I've said this with the pattern of what I get, because how would this be written? We've got an Elvis film, right? Where are we going to set him this year? What vehicle are we going to use? Who's the love interest? Is the child, right? We need songs about sea fish based items. Go away, lads. Write me a song. And you think, well, what's it? What else is in the? What was? If that was used, what was in the trash?
Well, yeah, indeed. Oh, Lordy.
Oh, excellent choice. Like that. Proper 60s movie. I'll go with that.
Right. Come on, then.
My number 5 is a little bit later, I suppose, in the 60s. A little bit more groovier 60s.
Right, yeah.
I've gone for Spin Out. Not the song, the film, right? I'll Be Back.
Oh, good choice.
And for me, great song on its own as well.
Indeed. Yeah.
And good enough for the events, for the discos.
Yep.
A good one to play at that. It's a cheesy scene.
Yeah.
But great one. Now, when you were saying about the composers, it's Wiseman and Wayne, this one. So it's another lot of the standard stable. But Ben Wiseman and Sid Wayne, some 50 odd songs, isn't it, that he did for Elvis? Over the whole lot, 57 songs or something.
That's a good one as well, because Elvis's voice is slightly changed from from Song of the Shrimp up to I'll Be Back. It's slightly another couple of years on, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it sounds good. It lends itself to the song, doesn't it?
I think it's great. And it just, had that been a single at the time, could it have been a hit? Well, I'd say no, because it's too 60s. And this is the thing I have. If you're going to do a remix album, change it for a reason. This vocal, this song, done with a proper modern, not a disco beat, not a remix scratching, not rap or anything. A rock band, just your average, hard-working garage band with this would do it. Double neck guitar he plays in the video, and he's got a girlie on drums. So
it's a rocking song, isn't it?
But he's there in his what's he called? His suede jacket, looking like Hugh Hefner. So he needs to be a bit grunged up, doesn't he, to have done it? But love the song as a standalone.
Yeah, good choice. That I like that one. And so some of these movies were throwaway movies, and they've been dismissed in the history of movies. And let's face it, rightly so. Some of them had some great little numbers like this, didn't they?
It's better than the film, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The soundtrack album for Spin Out, I think, generally, plus those bonus ones that were real. Hang on, these are eye openers. Yeah, it could be something. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Sticking with that one as my number 5. What's your number 4?
Number 4 for me from Kissing Cousins. I had to include one from Kissing Cousins, and Once Is Enough. I like that one.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I thought I was going to go for Smoky Mountain Boy or Kissing Cousins Part 2 or something like that. But I love Once Is Enough. I don't know why. It's just like, it's a groovy type of song, but it's also easy listening as well. Elvis sounds great on it. It's another one by Sid Temper and Roy C. Bennett. So I've been drawn to that. Like I said, I only wrote the composers down after I'd made my choice.
Yeah, it's exactly what I did. And
So subconsciously, subconsciously I've just gone for it. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Recorded October 1963, of course. So yeah, Once Is Enough, number 4 for me. And Kissing Cousins is one of those songs where you've got Barefoot Ballad, you've got One Boy, Two Little Girls, Catching On Fast, all this sort of groovy, sort of Elvis and a chick type of sound, haven't you? You know, and just permanently one from 5 or 6. Again, the movie, you know, we throw that away, but the songs in it are just marvelous.
What about the scene for that one? I love the scene that Once Is Enough is, because you've got old Batgirl, Yvonne Craig.
Yeah.
Next to her, going, look at my boyfriend. He's ever so dreamy. And then she starts doing this ridiculous dance while the worst army dancers in the world are behind him.
Oh, it's terrible.
I can't take my eyes off the bad.
I know. It's like watching that scene from Grease, isn't it? You know, is it where we go together, where they do the crowd scene at the end, and you look beyond Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta, and you look to all the extras go and do that, and Kissing Cousins at the back. The dance in the background are just like that. Yeah. Try and get noticed, isn't it? That's part of the beauty of watching these movies from the 60s. And to be fair, not just Elvis movies, any sort of musical, anyway, sort of throwaway musical, you get the extras in the background, start going, this time next year.
I'll have my own series. Yeah, this is it. And Margaret's got nothing on me. Yeah, why have I never heard of you, love? Right. That is a good call.
So What's Enough, number 4.
Nice one. I'm happy with that. My number 4.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. I've gone for the movie Easy Come, Easy Go.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone, I think, in a similar vein to I'll Be Back, without realising it, You Gotta Stop.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, never had that.
Because I think, again, it's a darn good song. Mm-hmm. If you D60-fy it, they always have, it's the 60 songs that have got too much saxophone or, it's like a lot of the Elvis 70s stuff. I'd take the girly singers off. Sorry, love. But, less is more. But You Gotta Stop is a good little rocker again, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it goes at 100 mile an hour as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. And what's wrong with it? What can you say is wrong with it? He's there on the stage, so it's like a live performance.
Yeah.
It's not. But at least, he's there being a performer. He's not singing to a dog in a helicopter. He is actually, just there going like, and, I don't believe all the guitar playing's him, and the saxophone players I can do without. But, I think with a bit of fancy background, that could be a darn good song on its own. So You Gotta Stop from Easy Come, Easy Go.
Yeah, one-off single. Yeah, maybe that'd be really good, wouldn't it? I think.
Yeah, these are the ones you got to play with. A good writing team again. What is it? Baum, Kay, and Giant. The three of them have written it. Another one that wrote 8 billion songs for Elvis. Mm-hmm. So I think, I think You Gotta Stop. The movie fits in the movie. It's a nice performance. He looks happy enough. He's in a groovy little bar by the sea. So they've put cheesy nets up and everything to remind you that we're by the harbour. And he dances a little bit. And you just think, if there an outtake to this where he lets rip a bit more, but he's starting to look, late 60s Elvis. He's looking dead cool.
Yeah, from what, 65, 66 probably onwards, Elvis started to look really sort of great.
Yeah.
In his movies, I think, and his voice sort of just went down a touch, and deeper wise, I mean, singing wise,
not down the pan.
No, but his voice changed slightly, didn't it?
Yeah.
And he looked great. I mean, you look at something like look at that movie, Easy Come, Easy Go, and you look at Frankie and Johnny as well, which is round about the same time. I think he just looked fantastic in those films, and yet he's doing these middle of the road films.
Yeah.
You know, which are not attracting anybody really. But he looked fantastic. He was, well,
when was the last time you sat and watched Easy Come Easy Go? Because I can't remember the last time I watched it.
Not a clue. Not a clue.
Yeah.
Got to be double figures in the amount of years.
Yeah.
I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be forever.
Mm.
So I think they deserve an airing again.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of, yeah, Easy Come Easy Goes. It's actually quite groovy again, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're trying to tap into that Carnaby Street 60s thing going on. A bit like the Anne Margaret film of a similar sort of time, The Swinger, where she's just the groovy girl. Lovely. That's number 4.
Yep.
Are we looking for 3?
3. Now, when I first started doing this, when I first started looking at it, so I looked at this song, I thought, that's got to be my number 1. Surely it's got to be my number 1, but it's not my number 1, which is really surprising. So, from Fun in Acapulco, it's Bossa Nova, Baby. What a song this is.
Do you know, it's funny, isn't it, that with the Elvis hits, I play less classics than I do obscuros.
Yeah.
These days, when you only had 40 greatest and that was your collection, you had them all. So it's nice to revisit these. And it's like hearing Pope Saladani, isn't it? We think of somebody thinking he's Elvis on the dance floor. But actually, when you listen to it and it's a proper swamp rock song, you're going, hang on, that's great. Yeah, so I like that then. So
Bossa Nova, Baby, because it's a rocking tune. It's Elvis sounding great in 1963 when he recorded it. It's a Lieber and Stoller song. It's another great.
That's the ultimate pedigree. That is.
There's your songwriting royalty. It's a Lieber and Stoller song. And when you see him in the movie doing it, he's wearing that white suit. He just looks amazing. And I don't know whether he's playing the organ at the back. When he leans back to do that. But that just looks so cool.
Yeah, but how many times have you danced to this when you're a bit pickled and you still do the keyboard bit, don't you?
Every single time. And you just lose yourself in it, and you don't give a monkey's whether anybody else is doing it or not. You just get on with it, and everybody's looking at me going,
and everybody else is there going, dee diddly dee, dee diddly dee. Yeah.
Because you think you look as cool as Elvis, and let's face it, you've eaten a bit too much. You look like Mr. Greedy, don't you? You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, it's a great song. I don't know. I don't even know how the song is formed. I mean, is it a guitar doing that unique type of sort of sound? I have no idea. It's very, very good.
It's nice to get technical with you.
Yeah, there's my musical knowledge coming to the fore there, right?
Yeah.
So, like I say, Elvis just looks great, and it was, probably after this point, the movies probably didn't become so important to him. But this song stands alone again.
It really, I think it is. It's one of those, at the video discos and everything these days where they just cut all the songs out. It's a standalone pop video, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's and I think it highlights the fact that we've got so many songs in these 31 movies, and we could do a whole disco, if you like, just on movie songs. Yeah. And this is a prime example of it. And this to such an extent, a few years ago, and this was RCA who did this, wasn't it? They extended it, did a 12-inch remix of it.
I don't think it was the best done, but at the time it was. At
the time it was it was up there. It was different, and it was an official release as well. And then they also redid it as well in Viva Elvis.
I was going to say that one's different, but you could see the years have passed and technology has moved on there. But it is a proper party song, isn't it?
It's big drums in it and the whole thing. It's a wonderful song. And like I said, when I first started doing it, I'm surprised it never made number 1, but for very good reason, I hope.
But don't you think it's one of them that doesn't need tampering with?
Oh yeah, easily. It stands alone.
I don't think any, a remix we've done those, but I mean it doesn't need like an RPO treatment or anything.
No, it easily stand alone in the modern day. Easily, no problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
There's my number 3, Bossa Nova, Baby, number 3.
Talk about the good times with Talking Elvis.
Indeed. Now, I've gone the other way with that. I've gone, how should we put it? Slower,
Okay.
really bluesy.
Uh-huh.
And the dream for me is Elvis did a blues album.
Yep.
Right, a proper, we had Elvis country, we've had the gospel albums. There should have been an Elvis blues one. And my dream is there still will be one day, but it'll be done lovingly with a proper, new backing track, but not silly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those songs that I think is quite throwaway, Norm, on first listen. You watch the movie that it's in, Frankie and Johnny. And the scene fits lovely, sitting on the curb with the guy playing the harmonica and the black cat. Hard luck.
That made it into my almost final cut.
Oh,
I scrubbed that out at the last moment.
Last minute replacement.
Yeah, because you had to have you had to make a decision, and that just fell by the wayside. It's a tremendous,
but it is a proper one there, and that to me, strip 60s off it. Give it a good bluesy. Yeah. For me, the dream was always going to be BB King and Elvis. Ooh, that was going to be the dream. And somewhere I just, electronically out there, please somebody, if you're going to do remixes, do that one. So Hard Luck. Another one by Wiseman and Wayne. So that's a good one. So Ben and Sid, well done, lads.
Yeah, very, very good song. And like I say, that's really hard blues, isn't it? It's I know the setting was sort of the South, wasn't it? In Louisiana, New Orleans sort of area. Anyway, that was the idea of it. But
singing the blues there, and I always think that even that's a ready-made video, because if you did redo the backing track, as long as there's a harmonica in it, you got a ready-made video. Come on, RCA, get your act together.
Yeah, listen to us. We know what we're talking about.
We do, yeah. We have nearly double figures of listeners. Come on. Right.
Dear, thank you to both of our families for making that. So,
Yeah. It's lovely that they just put it on Spotify and go and do the gardening, isn't it? Lovely. Hard Luck.
Very good.
Good one. But in the movie as well, it won because it's so, it fits the storyline because of Nellie Bly and Blondie and and all that. Yeah,
indeed. Good stuff. Like that one a lot. Right then, we're getting down to it now. If you say it's going to be my number 2. If you say right, I'm going to go 50s.
Do you know what? Go on.
And we're hurtling towards the top 2. And people are already now starting to jump to the wrong conclusions, I reckon, because they think I'm going to go classic, but I'm not really. I'm going to go something slightly off from King Creole. Don't ask me why.
But I was going to ask you why.
No, don't ask me why. I think this is a very, very good romantic song done by somebody who's a rock and roller, who's played a real hard street kid in this movie King Creole, and comes out with a song like this, and just done beautifully. I think it's if you look at this song critically, it's an absolute perfect example of the talent of this singer.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, and it's one of my favourites as well. It's not a rocking song. It's just a lovely sort of slow song with guts.
Oh, with guts.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and this could have been done as a single on its own. I think this could have been a standalone. This could have been as big as "Love Me Tender" had it not been just another song in a movie. And
what about the performance in the movie?
It was just silhouette Elvis, not silhouette Elvis, but Elvis in the spotlight,
Yeah, good in it.
And the atmosphere of it. And we've mentioned this before about King Creole, haven't we? That we'd love all nightclubs to be like that. We don't know whether they were or not. But there was a spotlight, there's people sitting around tables and it's like, drinking bourbon and all this sort of thing, and having a beautiful woman on your arm and all that. And you've got the atmosphere of everybody in the room paying sole attention to this one person singing a song.
I'm just waiting for her to come running in the background going, bananas. Never happens.
So yeah, that's my number two. Like I say, it was a hard one because the other ones I've left out as well. But
So when I broke them down, I tried to choose. Well, I did choose my favourite one from each film, and this is where I struggled. Was the 50s because the rock and rollers in the 50s movies were great.
Yeah,
were great, and I've kind of cheated, and I've not put a 50s in my list.
right, okay.
And I really have made the conscious decision to go. I could not choose. So when I did the whittling down from 31 songs, well, from all of the songs to 31 songs to choosing my favourite, I let it go. How random's that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's we had to make a choice here, didn't we? We had to do something to get this down. Otherwise, we'd have been saying, "And welcome to Talking Elvis. Here's our 27 best Elvis songs from movies."
Yeah,
we would have been a 9-hour show, So we had to whittle it down somehow or other.
So don't ask me why. Is that the best song in King Creole?
Probably not.
I just wonder whether it was. Yeah.
It's everyone's each individual opinion, isn't
it?
King Creole is a great one. Trouble is a fantastic one. Even sort of Young Dreams.
I went for Dixieland Rock as the best.
Yeah.
So
it could have been that as well. So that was Fred Wise and Ben Wiseman.
It is all could have been, isn't it?
Yeah. Fred Wise and Ben Wiseman wrote that one. So again, another good combination.
Do I'm surprised that they've never done all of the albums for all of the composers. I know we've had Written for the King and we've had other bits and pieces, but there's a good little lot to go at here.
Yeah, I've got a double one with for Tepper and Bennett.
Yeah,
I think it was a French release. I think
I can say that they did, but
that's very good.
And actually, it's time to put them all together properly. Actually, that'd be a nice Spotify playlist. I might have a look at that.
Yeah,
right.
So make it so, or a very good box set. You could put half a dozen.
Try that again.
Shut up, Alexa.
Alexa, we're on the radio.
She's gone really silent now. Yeah, you could have a box set, really, couldn't you, of featuring the Elvis writers?
Yeah,
because there's enough material there for, especially the ones that wrote more than 3 or 4 songs. So and
then there's the songs that they went, no, we won't bother, but he did record it. Lovely. Right, so that was, what was that, number
2 for me? Yeah,
number 2. Right. Oh, that's me. Sorry. So you've got Alexa, I've got my phone pinging. So it's all go here, isn't it? It's all go here.
The beauties of recording at home, eh?
Yeah, I got to say, the super lockdown special. My next one, I think, is an unusual one because it threw me. Because of this song, Elvis did more than once in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to think of it for the next version, the TV version, rather than the movie version, which is very strange, isn't it? But this song got into it because I think it's a great song. I think in the 68 special it's done amazingly, but even the scene in Speedway, it is just bang on. It is Let Yourself Go.
Wonderful, brilliant song.
Don't think much of his jacket.
You're joking. That's the one thing you've never seen on display in bloody Graceland, isn't it? His jacket from Speedway. So
yeah, no, it's great. It's a great jacket. I think it's a great song. It's sleazy. It's sexy to death. As you proved in the 68 special. Let Yourself Go is around there. He's flirting with everybody. They're all a bit groovy on a podium. Some of the material would make a lovely dress. He's in there. What is the scene like? Pulp Fiction fans.
It's Jack Rabbit Slims, isn't it?
It's Jack Rabbit Slims, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah,
it's so good, and he gets and he's singing this, and I didn't realise this was a bit of a pattern formed. I do tend to love Elvis in a movie when he's a performer. So
Yeah.
he is up on the stage with the band.
It's less cringeworthy then, isn't it?
Yeah, rather than the back of a truck on a motorbike or whatever it is.
Or singing to a girl, and
Yeah,
yeah. No, you're quite right, and this is the absolute epitome of it, isn't it?
yeah.
And it's
Uh,
it's just fantastic. It's like I say, it's cool. It's Jack Rabbit Slims. It's Elvis in 1967, 68, looking great. And again, we've got extras dancing in the background as well, which adds to the fun.
Oh yeah, it's the same groovy people. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't look well, do they? Some of them.
No, they really don't. and one or two of them could do with getting out in the sun a bit more, couldn't they?
Yeah. What can I say? You're in Speedway. Come on, let's get outside. It's an outdoor sport. So for me, Let Yourself Go. I love the '68 special version.
Yeah.
Probably more so. But I think there's room for manoeuvre with this one. But he's looking super cool. He's got a really great jacket on.
Yeah,
he's leaping around. It's Jack Rabbit Slims. I've never heard it in an interview, but Tarantino must be paying tribute here.
I would hope so. He's an Elvis man after all.
He really, that's it. He's an Elvis man.
Yeah.
It says it all.
That's a great choice. Great
Right,
choice.
so Let Yourself Go from Speedway.
This is Henrik Knudsen from the Memphis Mansion in Randers, Denmark, and you are listening to the Talking Elvis podcast.
Well, I've probably gone a bit predictable, and I'm not sure whether you may have gone that as well.
No. You could have 100 guesses and you won't get mine.
Okay, right.
You're going to come out with it straight away now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hit the nail right on the head, aren't I? Right. Okay. Rather than guess yours, I'll tell you mine. My number one Elvis movie song, Old MacDonald. No, it's not. No, it's not. Although it's a very good song, it did make it into the top 50.
I didn't even write it down.
No, mate. It's weird, that, isn't it? But there you go. Anyway, I've gone for a classic. It's one that we always enjoyed playing at an Elvis events, way before George Clooney took any interest in it, and that's A Little Less Conversation.
Got it. Yeah.
A Little Less Conversation from Live a Little, Love a Little. We played that for years before that became popular.
It was a bit of a joke, wasn't it? That my set, when I'd get Neil to go out of the way for 5 minutes, I would do Hey, 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 Rubbernecking, A Little Less Conversation. And it was my little groovy set, wasn't there? There was a few others like that. My Babe used to sneak in there as well. And I used to, that was 20 minutes of pure heaven for me.
Yeah,
excellent choice. Are you putting in the movie version here? They're not forget remix. This is just straightforward movie
versions lifted straight off the print. Absolutely, 100%. It's a great song, isn't it? And some, like, I know when they did play it over that night shot of Las Vegas in Ocean's 11, it was like, because I did when I went to see that movie, I did not know that this song was in the movie, and when it happened, it was like, oh my god! And I know that version is the '68 comeback special version that they play.
Yeah,
I realise that, but it's still one of my favourite songs of all time. I can't argue with that. I play both versions, or every version on the radio show. It's good. It did beat down 2 or 3 other great songs, which we can come on as also runs after you've done your number one as well. It's just a great groovy song, and it's if you look at Billy Strange and Mac Davis. Now Mac Davis as well is a fantastic writer.
Proper pedigree, isn't it?
Yeah, and he wrote in conjunction with Jerry Reed as well. All that sort of late '60s stuff, and it's just a brilliant composition. I've got the Mac Davis version as well. When he did the demo, and he actually released it as a single prior to Elvis doing it as well. Obviously, not a hit at all, but it's just a great song on its own. Doesn't matter who sings it. We're lucky enough that Elvis sang it.
Yeah.
Simple. I can't
Simple
really
as
too much else to that.
But it is. That's the thing with that song. It's a standalone song. The fact that a squillion years later it could be remixed into something amazing, because not just one of these tin pot remixes that you find on YouTube.
No.
This was promoting the biggest sporting event and selling a squillion copies.
Yeah.
It was, and I loved the remix. The amount of people that didn't know it was Elvis.
Yeah. I mean, 18 years ago. I mean, it's like 2002 was when it came out. 18 years.
It's not 18 years, is it?
It is 18 years on,
It
right?
must have been 4.
And it is still, and it's still being played at major sporting events all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just like wow. You know, to me anyway.
But
it's
of
just like,
all the remixes that ever were, whether you're going for reggae albums and Elvis versions of this, that, and the other, that is the king.
it's a standout one without a shadow of a doubt, isn't it? Yeah.
And you know, for remixes, this is what I would say with all of them. They've got to be hugely different.
Yeah.
What's the one? You know, the RPO stuff. The one that stands out, the only song that stands out of all the RPO ones that was a different enough was
I Got a Thing About You, Baby.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they had the balls to go, let's do it different.
Yeah.
And that's the one I can listen to, because the others are just like, well, it's still an orchestra. It's still very sweet. It's still very nice. But little less conversation. Bang on. I've probably contrived my chart a little bit more because I'm like that, because that really is a great one.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been a great favourite. But I was a bit, well, should I put it in? Is that too predictable?
No, but I think that's the thing.
But if it's a great song, if I feel it's a great song, if it's one of my favourite songs of all time, then sod it, it's going in. So and it just so happens it was in a movie, so there's my number one.
Well, this is the thing. This is where it all comes back to. Are we looking for a great movie song, or are we looking for a great song in a movie?
It's a combination of two.
It's
really,
a combination of the two.
Yeah.
And my number one will sum it up, and then I'll give you my complete why they're kind of connected, and then the also rans. Right. Any idea what mine's going to be?
You know what? I've got. Let's just have a look at my own sort of comprehensive lists of 40 odd songs here that I started off with. I'm really struggling because normally sitting in a pub with you, I go, yeah, I know all that. I know what you're going to play next, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then knowing that you've been a bit of an arse on one or two of these top five, I just don't know which way your mind's going to be working.
I'm creative.
So, there's one word for it. Yeah. All right, then, come on. Vince Wright's number one, everybody.
Right. I think it's a great song. It's been around for a while, so it's not strictly just written for a movie. The original writers were Eddie Arnold, who did a version of it in '55, and it's from an idea from him. And Cindy Walker had a '60s hit with it as well, which is kind of, you can see the Elvis influence as his arrangement for it.
Yeah.
My favourite version of it in the world ever is Ray Charles.
Oh, I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, You Don't Know Me?
Yeah.
Just absolutely think it's a song that should have been a hit on its own. It's not the greatest visuals to him. He's looking a little bit an older Elvis. He's a bit chunkier, isn't he? He's getting there and that. And he's leaning on that window singing it with all these weird boats. And all the usual things that he does and banners, but you haven't got too much glitz here. There's not 100 go-go dancers. He's just feeling sorry for himself, wandering around, and a load of V8 engines on show and flippers. Yeah.
It's just a straight performance, isn't it?
It's a straight performance.
Yeah, from Clanbaker.
He's standing there. Yeah, Clanbaker. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Cheesiest bit when he holds the rose. He's in double denim here by the looks of him, so he's fairly chilled. But it's a great song. good little story behind it. I also love the Ray Charles version in
Yeah.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's a
They
beautiful
use
song
it
anyway.
beautiful
It's
song.
it's like, a bit like my number one, a little less conversation. I did say that it doesn't matter who would have sung this song as long as they were any good.
That's that's the definition of a good song,
and
isn't
this
it?
is exactly that, isn't it? Because the Ray Charles version and both the Elvis versions are very, very good, and pretty much anybody with any sort of stuff about them, any kudos about them, could have sang this song if they were any good.
And that's the thing that, the Elvis
Great
versions,
songs.
there's a couple of them, that's great. And you go, which is your favourite version, and choose. But for me, that was the standout. So I know it was very easy to look at my original list and say, what was your favourite song from each film?
Yeah.
And it was tricky to whittle it down, because we could have just said, for the next 33 weeks, we're going to do what's your favourite song from this film, next film. And I think I prefer what we've done. But it is interesting to say, my theory is that all of my 5 songs would be 5 songs on this new mythical album of taking obscure Elvis songs that the public wouldn't know, redo a decent background, whether it's the bluesy one, a country version, whatever, not over the top, just absolutely less is more. That is a number one album for me. That is, it would be so good. And extra things, we had Meanest Girl in Town, which was close to coming into this. 2 60s, too many saxophones and all that again. But just take the idea of that song again, shove it in this compilation, and I think you've got a winner.
You're probably right there. I mean, there's loads of songs that didn't make the cut on probably both of our lists. And I would imagine out of our lists, we'd probably got about half of the same. The rest of the half would be totally different, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Probably, if we compared lists.
I did do a sort of a breakdown to what I thought was my favourite movie song. And it didn't get in my running for the top 5 of this, but my overall 60s feel of a good movie was Happy Ending.
Right, yeah.
I just love that as a 60s movie song, but because I decided to go a little bit more concepty, but it depends which way you want to look at it. And we do this list again in 6 months. I bet we don't do any of them the same.
It could be different, isn't it? Because it's if I look at all the movies that I've written down here, I've written down every single movie, of course, but there's lots of little things. And even from what I said that was my favourite 60s movies, I wrote down 4 songs out of that, but not one of them made the top 12. It was just weird, isn't it? It's just, it's, when I started whittling it down, it's just really strange, but next week it might. Yeah.
I kind of feel the 50 stands alone again, but I know I shouldn't. But for the 60s, things like I Slipped, I Stumbled, I Fell, What a Wonderful Life, Long-Legged Girl, Wheels on My Heels, they just make you grin, don't they?
They really do. Yeah, it's Confidence. There's another one. It's probably quite an appalling song, and Elvis didn't particularly perform it very well. But it's one of those ones,
movie, doesn't it?
He's got those kids, singing to them, and you sit there watching it with a stupid grin on your face, don't you? It's just, and there's no logic behind that really, apart from the facts. Well, it's just making me happy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's good. Now this is good, because the silly ones are kind of a subsection of your favourites.
Yeah.
Yet there's still some dire songs, right, which we haven't really done. But it seems to be a pattern here with all our top 5s. Is Harem Scarum didn't get a look in again this week.
Yeah.
But Hey Little Girl, at the right time in an Elvis disco, is a belter. But that's the only one.
Yeah, well, I wrote down Shake That Tambourine from Harem Scarum.
Oh, Shake the Tambourine.
Yeah. I wrote that down. That made it into the top 41. So I wrote that down from there. So it's isn't it funny? It's like the way your mind works. on certain days of the week, you know.
It's funny, when you started talking about Bossa Nova Baby, my brain was going Rockahula. So,
Same thing, isn't
you
it?
know,
Yeah.
you know, and then I'm going, I'm thinking of the wrong video here. All right, you know, and I had to sort of
And
turn
he
it
was
around
wearing
again.
he was wearing a white suit in both songs. I've just realised that.
Yeah, it just completely, because in my list of also rans, I'd got Rockahula Baby. I hadn't got that. So I think I'm going to like it here. It was in my list of a great one. It's nice to see that we didn't go down the Viva Las Vegas route as all things Viva Las Vegas are God, which we tend to do. You know,
it's one of his most popular films for
it's probably
for the general populace as well, not just Elvis fans.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of the most easily recognised one because they use Viva Las Vegas in all sorts of advertisements and everything, don't they?
But it wasn't in his lifetime, was it?
No, not in his lifetime. It wasn't. No.
Oh, wait.
Now, I'm just going to interrupt proceedings here on Talking Elvis to let you know that every Wednesday on Cam FM, you can listen to Elvis in Cambridge with myself, Ian Gray, and me, Vince Wright. We're on at 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. USA East Coast time, and 9 a.m. Alaskan time. You can also get us 24 hours a day via the catch-up service on www.camfm.co.uk. But whatever time it is that you're listening, you can guarantee one thing: it's Elvis time.
Any good also runs?
I've got one or two. I mean, it's like the ones that made it down. You know, the 4 or 5 that didn't quite get in there. Here's a great one. It's like a bluesy one. Clean up your own backyard.
Well,
you know, that's from Trouble with Girls. That's a fantastic song, and I deliberated for quite a while before dropping
the lovely version of the one that on the double features when it came out, and you had the version without all the overdubs. I used to play that one all the time. Now that's again would fit in my concept album of redo them, because that's that late 60s political stuff again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very gritty sort of good song.
Yeah,
and another one that anybody could have done, really. You know. So, and we're fortunate that Elvis did it. So, that's definitely top of my also runs. That was just outside the top 5, I think.
So my also runs included Smoky Mountain Boy, which you mentioned anyway.
Yeah.
My guilty pleasure for Paradise would have been Drums of the Island.
Yeah.
I like that one. The Oh My God Brigade. I think was an interesting look at when you went down. I don't like Pocket Full of Rainbows. You know, I just don't.
Is it her in the back? Is it her in the background with rainbows?
Oh, that's good.
Or is it just Juliet Prowse you don't like?
Oh, well, that's probably it then. Yeah. Angel, don't think much of. I actually put Song of the Shrimp in me. Don't really rate it much.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax from World's Fair doesn't sound anything like it, so I took that one out. Yeah. Favorite Christmas song from Viva Las Vegas? Santa Lucia. Yeah.
Oh dear God.
I've got them all here. Hey, Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, that was on my original list, you know.
Yeah, I like that. That was on a bit of a good
Hi guys,
list.
what's on the show next week?
As well as Do Not Disturb from the same movie, you know. It's
Do Not Disturb. I think it's proper quality, wasn't it?
Yeah, that made it into my top 10. That did. Yeah.
How high up the chart did Yoga Is As Yoga Does get?
I'm afraid it didn't make the first cut.
I thought not. Yeah. What else have we got?
We've mentioned Old MacDonald, which didn't make the cut.
Yeah, I think in last week's show, was it the week before, I mentioned how much I hate Have a Happy as well.
I was almost going to put that in just to annoy you, but I don't know.
Oh, God. Yeah. Amanda, love you, Amanda. Hate the song. And for 50s, I was going to go Treat Me Nice from JLS Rock.
JLS Rock. I've got I Want to Be Free from that movie.
Yeah. Well, all the 2-year-olds are saying at school, aren't they?
That's what half the country's saying at the moment. But there we go. So that was good fun. We enjoyed that.
Oh, that's the right.
And we didn't go for the movie
title soundtrack. That
Find
we
us at
actually thought,
www.talkingelvis.co.uk
So
or
this was the
Facebook or
criteria
YouTube
that
or
we said the
Spotify.
song
In fact,
title
any
name,
place you get your podcasts.
but it had to be in the show. So we couldn't have the different roustabouts. We had to have the proper one. We couldn't have Danny. You'd have to have King Creole. Yeah. So we were quite strict on that.
So I'm going to go very, very simply Roustabouts, because that was my favourite movie from the 60s anyway. And that'll be my favourite movie title soundtrack.
Now, I thought, am I going to go for one of the Kissing Cousins? Because you got two to play with. Now, I have gone, being the random person that I am, just to throw a spanner in the works, my favourite title theme I've gone for is also my favourite song from this movie, which is also the only song in this movie, and that's Charo.
Oh, right, okay. I'm afraid that didn't make my list of favourites.
Now, I think as the song titles, I wanted to get Charo in there somehow, and that was my only way of doing it, because it was my favourite in the film, because it's all there is. And I do like it as the Saturday Western. It feels like a good, that could have been
even the
Elvis
opening credits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even the opening credits on a song like that is what you'd expect on a Saturday afternoon on BBC Two, isn't it?
That's it. And that could have been Elvis singing that, but then it was Rock Hudson as a cowboy. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yes, indeed.
It could have just
a standalone title.
He happened to sing the theme.
Yeah.
We don't expect Shirley Bassey to be in a Bond film, but we expect her to sing the theme, don't we?
a bit like Dennis Waterman in any TV show he ever did.
Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Same thing. Elvis did
All
it
good.
first.
Elvis did it. So I think that was one I'm going to go for there, just to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, as
excellent
we say.
Excellent stuff. That was really good fun.
Really good fun, and we've got a fair bit of time clocked up on that as well. I thought that was going to be a 20-minute one.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think we'd get much out of that.
Question. Kid Galahad, favourite song?
Whistling Tune.
See, I'm down to I got lucky and This Is Living, and I could not make my mind up. So that one just confused me for hours. Fantastic list, good game to play. Let's hear your opinions out there in Radio Land. No, we're not on the radio today, are we? Podcast land, right? We might edit this bit and use it on the radio. You never know. All good?
Marvellous.
Sit down in a darkened room now.
Enjoy, yep.
Thank you very much.
Just for a change, I think it's about time we all sat down and watched a bit of television. What do you think?
Yes, you can't beat the telly, can you?
So let's be a bit more specific here, and let's have a look at Elvis's television appearances throughout his lifetime. We're not talking about specials after Elvis had died, or documentaries like Elvis 56, and stuff like that. But the actual show, the TV shows that Elvis appeared on.
To make this a little bit more interesting, why don't pick your favourite show, because there's a handful of shows. Let's have our top 5, just for a change. Let's have our top 5 TV moments.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, I like that.
Got a question? Email Vince at talkingelvis.co.uk.
Okay, so that's me. I'm going to go off and watch some television, Elvis's top 5 TV moments, and we'll have that. Looking forward to that. Yeah, all right, then that's it for me.
That's good. I'm going to go and watch Elvis Costello's top 5 TV moments and see if any of them are right for the chart next week.
Bye for now.
See you soon.